All right, so with our caliper off here, we're gonna pull this outside pad off, take a look at it. Just slide it out of there. This pad is still in great shape. It's still got the bevels. This is basically a brand new brake pad with quite a few years of sitting, very, very few miles. You can see how thick that thing is. The tapers, those are actually for noise diminishing qualities. This inside one, a lot of the times you actually can't quite get it out on the inside without pulling this bracket. So if we were doing a full brake job on this, we'd have to be pulling this bracket off too. We're gonna go ahead and just leave it on now. So say we got that pad in there, then we put the bracket back on. Now with the one inside pad installed, you've got your shims installed, you've got your bracket now torqued back on. Now you can take your outside pad, you can slide it back into place, make sure the outside radius there matches up with your brake rotor. Put that back in place, snap that back in there, and now we're ready to take our caliper and put it back on. So let's cut our zip ties. Swing this back around. Be mindful of how you wrapped that brake line. You don't want to twist it back around the other way without paying attention and kink it. If you kink that rubber, you should replace it. You don't want that thing to fail for the customer. So you can see this caliper here, this tab here, and this tab here are gonna go under that. And that one down there actually goes on top. So what you're gonna fight here when you're going back together, which is pretty normal, is your pistons trying to kind of float this inner pad around. So you want to make sure those things are staying squeezed as tight as they can. Make sure your slide's not getting in the way, which that's what the problem was there. This bottom slide, so here's the top one, the slide was pushed all the way this way and it was catching on the lip of that bracket there that you can see. So the reason we couldn't get that bottom in is this slide was all the way in like that. So you push that slide back out and it won't catch on that anymore. So we'll go back on one more time, get that slide out of the way. While a hammer is tempting, you probably don't want to start hammering on your brake caliper. Remember, always start your bolts by hand so you don't end up cross-threading them by accident. It's not a bad idea to put blue Loctite on these bolts if they're a customer rig or your rig. You definitely don't want those bolts coming out going down the road. All right, so those are both started by hand. We can now run them in with a ratchet and then torque them to spec.